On today's show, it's a road trip edition because right now we're getting ready to go to Fully Charged Live. Well, good morning, good afternoon or good evening, wherever you're listening in the world. Welcome to EV News Daily. Normally we do news editions. You know what, I may do a bonus news edition at the end of the day if I've got a couple of hours tonight to wind down in the hotel room. I might go through all the news for you and bring you a normal episode. But today we're going to be driving to the middle of sort of the Midlands in the UK. If you know Silverstone Racing Circuit, that's where Fully Charged Live is. Second one they're doing. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the Clean Energy and Sustainable Transport event. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning now on the south coast of the UK. Just getting ready to leave. Jumped in the car right now and planning 2 stops. The first one's going to be somewhere called Didcot on the... If it works, not if it works, because it will work, but if my plan works, the BP Chargemaster, to give them their proper name now, they've been bought, the Ultra Charge unit on the Polar network. However, whenever I've been there, it's been busy. I went there once, there was 2 cars ahead of me, but I had like 10 miles left, I had to wait. So, that's stop number 1. Then I reckon... in the little 22 kilowatt hour Zoe that I've got, then I reckon a motorway services, which is an Ecotricity, which always works fine with the Zoe, even though loads of people have issues with them. The closest I reckon I can get is about 14 miles to Fully Charged. It's going to be heaving, probably. I'll have to wait. However, then I'll have enough battery to do a little bit of the old Zoe taxi service, ferrying people from the car park to the conference hall. So, let's get going, and I'll update you on the way. So I've just pulled away from my second stop of the day. 2 charges in the little Zoe, and I'm really close now. It's still tipping down with rain though, by the way. Goodness me, I bet the car park's going to be fun at Silverstone. It's a second stop at the motorway services at Moto something, the one on the M40 anyway. And when I do a long journey in the Zoe, I'm always reminded of what I say to people on the podcast. Range, 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 range. When you're buying a car, go for range. And if you can't do that, get one that charges quickly. And I've got one that doesn't either. It doesn't go very far and charges very slowly. And so on a day like today, I am reminded of my own advice. And when I eventually say goodbye to this little one, and I've loved it, and at some point when we change it, then it's got to be a bigger battery or charging quicker than 22 kilowatts, even if we went for a Leaf or something. I mean, that would have a bigger battery, but there we go. Right, the sat-nav says I am, have a look at this, 17 minutes away from Fully Charged. Next time you hear from me, I imagine I will be inside having a chat to a few people. Bumping into not one but 2 premium partners of the podcast from Electric Future, Phil and Barry. Good to see you.
Hi Matt, it's good to see you too.
For people who haven't listened to the podcast for a while, you've supported the show for almost the longest of anyone and been on the show before. I'll give the elevator speech. Oh no, that round of applause. That is actually for Electric Future. Hundreds of people applauding the fact that we're here. Correct me if I'm wrong, big commercial solar installs, but you do plenty of other things as well, some storage and all those things. How's business?
Very good at the moment. Yeah, commercial is a particularly good market at the moment, even though feed-in tariff has disappeared. Yeah. The commercial market at the moment is probably as good as it has been in the last 5 or 6 years.
Why haven't we all got solar panels on our roofs then?
Yeah, good question.
Why haven't we all got storage? No, so storage, I know, it's too expensive, right?
Yeah, it is expensive. You know, the payback for storage is a difficult calculation. And unless you've got extremely expensive energy, then yeah, it really does struggle at the moment, albeit that it is getting cheaper.
Certainly is. Barry, you said you don't want to be on the podcast, so I'll ask you the next question. You've seen some interesting stuff here today. I mean, you know this is your industry anyway, so you know you've got your finger on the pulse, but some interesting things nevertheless at Fully Charged.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of innovation within the industry at the moment. Certainly a lot more positive. Commercially, there's a transition from a smaller market to a more commercialised market, so yeah, definitely very positive.
Where's the best innovation happening, in your opinion?
In EV charging at the moment.
In what way?
Lots of new products. A couple of years ago, you were very limited in terms of a plastic box on a wall. Now there's more aesthetically pleasing options available.
Yeah, completely, totally agree. Lots of options now. Phil, you've changed your EV recently.
Just again. One of a long list.
Every time I speak to you, I ask that question. How's the e-Nero?
Really good. Yeah, I'm going to admit it is a fantastic EV. Yeah, a genuine 260, 280 mile range, come what may. I think if you were doing a low speed, you could probably get about 320 out of it. It's a very impressive car.
And the faster charging makes a big difference as well, right? Sort of mid-70s?
Yeah, I think I managed to get 77, 78 kilowatts out of one of the 100 kilowatt Delta units. So yeah, it does make a big difference. Although I am looking forward to Tesla.
So I do know this. You have got your reservation, and you've been a long time reservation holder, and you've ordered what spec?
SR Plus. Just the price change that you flagged the other week. Has made me think, should I increase that to performance? Because it's not really very much more.
Have you been in one, I should ask?
Yeah. There's one here today.
I think my first drive was in the US, so on the wrong side. Sorry, US listeners, you drive on the wrong side of the road. Your steering wheel's on the wrong side. Half my audience is America, they're all switching off now. But I've driven the Model 3 in the US, and it does make a lot of sense having that single screen. It just felt normal.
Yeah, they're a lovely looking car inside. I must admit, when you look at a traditional car and the amount of buttons, the Kia certainly does have button overload in some places.
The thing for me, because if there's a motorway that I do most often, it's M3. I said this on an earlier chat, M3 northbound Fleet, and there is something about pulling up to that service station in the morning. 10, 12, 14 superchargers. Some days they're all empty. And there's 2 ecotricities, but on the Zoe, 1 AC, so only 1 ecotricity. That infrastructure is pretty impressive from Tesla.
Yeah, very. That's something that I'm certainly looking forward to, particularly when you've got the Nero CCS. You turn up to ecotricity chargers, and invariably it doesn't work. So I'm quite looking forward to turning up to 10 stalls and having the choice of particularly 140 kilowatts.
There was a post I saw earlier. I didn't click on it, didn't read it, but there's some sort of software, OTA software update going out today from Tesla that enables 200 on the Model 3s only. That's barely stop, get a coffee, get back in the car, carry on.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I'm looking forward to the most. I think that's the single thing that the market doesn't really seem to have got to yet, is that very, very quick charging is going to be definitely the future if you want to be doing long road trips.
Have you persuaded Barry here to drive EV?
Very nearly.
This is interesting then, because you are a tech forward person. Like you understand technology. What holds you back?
Last time I replaced my car was last August. We had the Leaf within the business then. The 170 mile on the Leaf just wasn't enough for me in terms of my business day. That's completely changed with getting the Nero. Now you can get a full day in without having to disrupt your day and charge on an evening, and that's a bit of a game changer.
It really is. Range. It's all about the range. And if you can't do that, then fast charging. And with the Zoe, I've got neither. So, But I still charge on the 3-pin at home. But some of the charging technology, because you are super experts on PV, some of the charging technology is interesting as well. How it's this ecosystem on the next 3 to 5 years where energy takes on a whole... people are going to be interested in their electricity.
Yeah, we've just been having the discussions while we've been going around the show today, and the purchase of electric vehicles seems to be a stimulus for people thinking more about their electricity and where it's coming from, which is a good thing for us in terms of EV, battery storage, and energy use in general.
Brilliant. All right, good stuff. You guys are heading home tonight. What's the next few months got in store for Electric Future?
So mainly the integration of Sun User, which is our solar thermal side of the business, and they're also going to be developed as a domestic charge installer as well. So, and also Tesla batteries that we do from being a Tesla partner.
Catching up with an old friend catching up with a friend. Let me start again. This is a terrible start to a podcast. Catching up with a friend, Beth Lilly, who you might follow Beth Lilly Race online on her socials, but here talking about the ERA Championship. So what's this all about?
So we are an entry-level electric Formula racing series. So to explain it simply to anybody, in motorsport you've got your various formulas. There's a motorsport series out there right now called Formula 4, which is a combustion engine feeder series, you might call it, for Formula 1. And we are kind of in a similar level to that in terms of performance car with the car, but pure electric.
Obviously, to get to the top in Formula 1 and all that kind of stuff takes a load of money and sponsorships, but junior single-seaters, certainly in this country, you can do it on a reasonable budget. Is this the case with you guys as well?
Yeah, that was actually one of the key goals with ERA Championship was affordability. It was actually on the top of all of our notepads when we were planning this. And actually for Series 1, for the spec car, where you get a complete arrive and drive, the car works, it's got everything inside and your series, we're looking at just under £100,000, which in motorsport terms is really, really affordable. It may not sound affordable, but in motorsport terms, trust me, that's very, very affordable.
So the last time we caught up, you were working on a thing which you couldn't talk about because it wasn't public yet, but this is the thing, so how's it been going?
We started this project a couple of years ago, and obviously it's been quite under radar as we've been developing the tech and starting to work on the car, but now we've come public with it. We didn't quite estimate how big of an audience and potential interest there was in a more grassroots entry-level racing series. So it's been really, really hectic the last couple of months in a good way. When business is exciting and going to lots of places, we've got so many potential customers now interested in motorsports that we never thought we'd see on a track. So that's really nice. We're bringing new companies into a really cool sport.
The ERA Championship definitely inspired by Formula E, which has worked really hard to sell a new form of propulsion to people, really, and still has its doubters. Are you coming across those kind of naysayers still? You're still doing the sales job?
You know what? Not as much as I'd have thought, but we do get the odd petrol head that needs to be convinced that noise and things are not there. But I think a lot of people are starting to switch now. It's been 5 years since Formula E started, and they've done a really good job in promoting electric motorsport and showing that it works and that they can drive in the rain, which is what we get a lot. So now I think we're in a perfect position now, time-wise, to say, we'll make something that is more accessible to people on a lower budget, and to companies that couldn't afford to race in something like Formula E, they can now showcase their tech. Because one of the cool things about ERA Championship is we've got dual classes. That's kind of our USP. So I mentioned before that we've got a spec off-the-shelf race car that a team can just buy, set up and race as standard. But we also have innovation class, where teams buy a rolling chassis essentially from us, and then they are able to self-develop their energy storage system, motor, BMS, human-machine interface, however you want to call that. So that's kind of quite a unique, exciting element to what we're going to do, which means that there's a lot of brands out there that are building cool EV tech. Maybe it's a motor, maybe it's battery packaging, and they're able to put their tech in an ERA car and actually get some competitive results out of it.
All right, well, good luck. How can people find out more about ERA Championship?
ERAchampionship.com or on all social media platforms.
Right, it's quietened down a little bit now from the blaring music we were at earlier to actually there's a bit of an outdoorsy bit here. There were some very noisy fossil gobblers racing past a minute ago, but it's all gone very quiet now. I bumped into Mike. How you doing?
Fine, thank you.
So you're here today and Sunday. Bring your nephew round on Sunday, you were saying. How old is he?
18, so just finishing college and going back into engineering, so quite interested in this. I'm certainly the car side of stuff here anyway, so I'm trying to enthuse him and get him to hopefully spend the day taking him around and getting him enthused about electric cars.
Yeah. So, but you've spent today here on your own. What's your impression? Did you come last year? What's your impression?
Yeah.
What's your impression this year?
Well, it's twice the size for one thing, so it's a lot more to walk around, a lot more to see. Certainly more in the paddocks as well, so far more cars down there. Saw the 208 as well, first time. I'm not interested myself because it's a little bit too small. And I saw the MG at London Motor Show a couple of weeks ago, and that was far more interesting to me anyway. So unfortunately, that's not here today. So it's a shame.
What's your favourite car that you've seen so far today?
Difficult to say. I mean, a lot of the conversions downstairs are obviously very interesting, and seeing the Aston Martins, obviously. from one end of it, but I do like the idea of being efficient, and I've been trying to go on to a very simple lot, also downstairs, to try and put a battery in their car rather than the hydrogen setup they have at the moment, because they're claiming an amazing efficiency on that thing, and if they could just get the thing into production, it might save a few jobs in Wales at some point.
No, absolutely. I had a little sit in the Audi e-tron. Have you been in that? It's a nice car.
Yeah, I had a run-in with an Audi e-tron driver a couple of weeks ago at a charger in Stoke. Because one of my little beefs is, I'm a solution architect by trade, and one of my little beefs is, you see a Zoe, you see a Leaf, you see a Soul, you see an e-Nero, you see a Kona, where's the charge port? Where it can be for the whole world round. And this poor e-Nero driver is having to go at a 45-degree angle into the space to try and plug the car in. And the same applies to Tesla. I had a little argument on Twitter a couple of days ago with a guy saying that he needed to tow a trailer and he needed the battery, the charge, to park sideways on. So the only time you do ever park sideways on is when you're refuelling. And why on earth Tesla haven't put the charge port at the front? When you're towing a trailer, that wouldn't be a problem. So it does appear a bit strange, but even the 208's got its charge port where the petrol can goes in. So yeah, I think we're still a little way away from getting that standardised. So
Oh, here we go. I don't know what they are. I've not looked at the. Oh god, they're all coming past now. Oh, we'll go inside because they're going to be dead noisy. It is this happened last year as well. This was the same last year. Very funny that it's an EV festival, and then these things fly past. But it's fascinating. Sort of, this is going to be where we are. It's going to be the future.
It is, hopefully. Yes. That is. Yes. Certainly, just add a different sort of soundtrack to an event that is all about saving energy. Yes.
Nice one. Nice to bump into you.
Thank you, and to you.
Catching up with more EV News Daily listeners. Well, I mean, I've met at least two, so at least I've met both of you, perhaps. Hello, Pat.
Hello, Martyn.
You are a Zoe owner, but you are a show-off. You are big battery Zoe owner.
Yeah, but if you scrimp and save and hopefully, buy something that will fit your needs, and unfortunately the 22 kilowatt didn't, but it didn't put me off the Zoe at all. I was convinced that it was the right way to go about buying a car.
Yeah. It really, I love the little Zoe. I got it on battery lease. I love it. Driving up here today, first stop, nobody on it. Second stop, because I want to have loads of battery for the Zoe taxi. I'm trying out the name Zaxi. Does that work? The Zoe taxi, the Zaxi. Yeah?
It might have legs.
You're just being kind now. That look on your face, this is terrible. How about the Zoe Uber, the Zuba?
No, okay.
Yeah.
Silence. Brilliant. This is great. But the second one, I had a little 20-minute wait, and then of course it's 22 kilowatt charging. I could either do with either the bigger battery or charging faster, but having that combination of slow charging and the smaller battery, it wasn't great. Was that the main reason you went for the ZE40?
Yeah, absolutely. I knew that I needed a slightly bigger battery, but I didn't need much of a bigger battery, but this is covering all my needs completely. Really happy with it.
Hey, fully charged this year, bigger and better than ever.
It most certainly is. I'm very pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, there's loads to... what's the highlight of your Friday so far?
Well, I've popped over to see about the new chargers, because it seems like a lot of the chargers are now becoming smart because of the OLED changes. So it's been interesting looking at the new chargers. So yeah, I think I'm going to get myself a new charger at some point.
Do you charge at home?
Yes, I do. I have that luxury.
I mean, that is the thing that isn't yet fixed. I used to live in an apartment, that had underground parking, so I guess we could have lobbied the, it was kind of 20 apartments and we owned the freehold, so we could have done that. But I guess if you can't do that, living in an apartment is quite tough. But you've got off-street parking.
I most certainly do. Yes, unfortunately, it makes it easier. However, when I first got my first Zoe, I didn't have any charging at all.
So how did you do it?
Well, fortunately, I begged the garage and I said, "No, let me have it. I'll get a Polar card and I'll use the Polar chargers, because we actually have 5, I think, in our hometown. Yeah, they let me have it, so it was good."
Brilliant. Oh, that's so cool. What's been the highlight of here then? For me, the Audi e-tron. That's a really nice car.
I've not seen that yet, but I'm going to go and have a look at is it Peugeot.
E208.
Yeah, I'm on my way to have a look at that. So I've not seen many vehicles here. I just walked past them as I came in, but I think it was just trying to get out of the rain.
Well, look, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. So far I've not seen Toyota. Are they here with their no such things?
Maybe not. Maybe they're holding their head in shame in a corner somewhere.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of the no such things. Look, thank you so much for listening, and I'll probably bump into you over the next couple of days and wave awkwardly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, that music that you can hear, and hopefully you can hear me above the music, is one of the intro videos they're playing in the Giga Theatre at Fully Charged Live. It's huge, it's enormous. I don't know how many people are sitting in here, but this is just massive. And it's packed as well because they're getting ready to do another session right now. I'm not sure what this session is. I've just been standing by the window actually looking outside at the test drives going on the Silverstone circuit. There's loads of BMW i3s, e-Neros out there as well, little Zoes and some Leafs. Commercial vehicles as well. There was someone driving a BMW i3, came into that chicane a bit hot. I'll tell you what, they were certainly very heavy right foot. Anyway, look, I bumped into Robin. He's a podcast listener. How are you going? Are you enjoying Fully Charged Live?
Yes, thank you. I'm doing great, and it seems to be very good.
This is very impressive. Like hundreds and hundreds of people all in this massive theatre, a huge screen, massive LED screen on the wall, and this amazing sound system blaring. Hopefully you can hear us above the noise of it. Robin, what are you looking forward to? What car are you looking forward to seeing most at Fully Charged Live?
The new E208, as I'm a current Peugeot owner and looking to upgrade in the near future.
Okay, so I haven't seen the E208 yet, but I've got high hopes for it. And there's Johnny Smith coming out to say it's the last talk of the day. You going to hang around and watch this?
Yep.
Cool. All right, I'm gonna go find the E208. Nice one. Have a good day, Robin.
You too.
First kilt of the day spotted. Beardy McBeardface, aka John, aka the man behind Kent EVs. Hello, John.
Hello, Martin. How are you?
Oh, well, you know, I'm a bit overwhelmed because there's a lot here.
Yeah, I mean, we were here last year. In terms of numbers, because it's Friday, it's a bit low, but it's still busy. Saturday last year, on my mobility scooter, I had a job to move through the crowd. So, but still good numbers for a Friday.
Yeah. Spikes is what you need. Spikes. Like chariot spikes out the wheels. I think that's what you need.
Yeah, either that or I need one of those older Ruger horns to go out the front. Yeah, see?
So good. You're saying that actually of all the things here, people talk about cars and stuff, but you've been looking at home storage stuff while you've been here as well. I've not caught any. What's caught your eye?
We were chatting to Varta earlier, and I was actually really impressed with their pricing and also the size of their battery. It's much smaller, more compact than the Powerwall, and I think better value for money.
Powerwall's obviously pretty big, but we only really use 4 or 5 kilowatt hours a day, unless the washing machine and everything's on, you know. But we don't need a big battery, so why stick 14 kilowatts on the wall of the garage?
Also, the other thing that's really caught my eye is these guys, EV Easy. Yes. Because I have a Motability car. I just worked out how much one of their EVs on Motability would be. I can actually get a BMW i3 from EV Easy for only a little bit more money. There's no deposits, you only pay the monthly fee, and you can give the car back whenever you want and change it up.
I might have to see if they can put you on commission because you've done a sales job on me now. You should be getting 7% at least for this. I've seen more and more on the Speak EV forums and more people on the forums talking about EV Easy. And we're going to feature them on a future edition of the podcast because you let yourself in with the app, and I want to have a go and all those kind of things. Anyway, so you're going to be here all weekend representing Kent EVs.
We've got a stand in the garage, so if you're here, come and see us. So, we're here all weekend.
Car-wise, are you looking forward to seeing anything?
I'm going to go speak to the Smart people because that's potentially what I'm looking at having through Motability, the Smart 4.4. But now I spoke to EV Easy, I'm actually going to book myself a test drive in the BMW i3 and see how I get on with that.
It's a nice car. My dad has one. It's a lot of car. It's space age technology still, even though it's quite an old design. Big enough for you, do you think?
Yeah, I've just changed my mobility scooter purely because I want one that comes apart to go in a boot. So this will go in the boot of a smart car, so it'll definitely go in the boot of an i3.
Brilliant. All right, and you're here with the rest of the gang. There's Sussex EVs, Surrey EVs as well.
Yeah, you won't miss us because we've all got T-shirts with your logo on. Remember, there's no such thing as a self-charging hybrid.
In 100 feet at the roundabout, take the second exit onto Whittlebury Road.
Well, there we go. That is me heading home from the first day of Fully Charged Live. Wow, so impressive. So nice to see so many familiar friends and faces as well to have a talk to. And also how many businesses are in the EV and clean energy space. A lot of the names I recognise, but put them all in one place. And it's truly, truly impressive. Well done firstly to the team today. Great organising. And I just got a lift back from what they call the Silverstone Wing. It's the exhibition space, back to the car park, which in fairness is about a 5-minute car journey. Just got a lift back to my car from the Tesla Owners Club here in the UK, and I was told 90 owners of Teslas have agreed to take part, as well as the Renault Zoe Owners Club, to shuttle people from the car park to where the event is happening. Looking forward to tomorrow. Hope you really enjoyed hearing those interviews from today. I've got a load of people that I want to talk to tomorrow. So many people that I kind of tapped up, ready for day 2 of Fully Charged Live. And my final day as well. I'm only doing Friday and Saturday. Oh, I've just gone past somewhere called Whittlebury Hall. I was going to stay at Whittlebury Hall. I was going to book in there, and then I was persuaded not to. I'm staying with the gang in about half an hour away. So, yeah. My rumbling tummy is thinking, oh, that could have been my hotel. I could just be pulling in there. But I have a half-hour journey ahead of me now. And so lovely today as well to meet new people and new friends, new listeners of the podcast, and people who I don't know how they know. I suppose I do the odd thing on Twitter, don't I? We just walked up and went, hey, Martyn, I listened to the podcast. It's weird because I don't do the YouTubes really. So I thought I was flying under the radar and being quite incognito. But to everyone who walked up today to either shake my hand, and those that I persuaded to actually do something on the microphone that you will have heard by now, then thank you very much to you as well for doing that. Well, I know that there's no news edition of the podcast today, so it's been a bit of a fully charged special and some interviews. Doesn't mean we don't still want to talk about our question of the week this week, which is set, as always, by our friends at myev.com. As EVs get more popular, and goodness me, if you're playing EV bingo, you've got full points by looking at the car park today. I saw a Volt. I think I've seen one in the UK before. I had a good old nosy around that. So I was parked next to a Volt. I've never met a Volt owner that doesn't utterly adore their car. Always nice to see a Volt in the UK. They are as rare as hen's teeth. So as EVs get more popular, here is the question. This was a long-winded way of getting into it. As EVs get more popular... As EVs get more popular, should we still have incentives for them? Financial incentives, other things like little benefits of where you can drive and where you can park, or not? Email me, hello@evnewsdaily.com, or you can leave a comment on YouTube and Facebook. Well, there are 214 patrons of the podcast. Thank you so much, every single one of you. And you heard a few patrons on today's show. You want to check out what it's all about? patreon.com. It's how we make this show every single day. The archive is all online, by the way. If you want to listen to previous shows online, you can get the new shows first and free and automatically by hitting subscribe, either on your podcast app or on YouTube. The audio goes on there as well. If you want to catch up on the socials, I would love to hear from you on Facebook, LinkedIn and Twitter. Please do. If you want to let me know where you listen and the reasons why you listen to the podcast as well, what you're tuning in for each day, I'd love to know. Just search EV News Daily and you will find me. Have a wonderful day. I'll catch you tomorrow. And as much as I looked and looked and looked today, I just couldn't find one. And that's because there's no such thing as a self-charging hybrid.